What if I told you that the fairy tale relationship between Jim Jones and Chrissy Lampkin has been acclaimed on social media as relationship objectives, genuinely reeks? No, honestly, it doesn't just smell fishy, it's full-blown musty emotionally. And spiritually brace yourself, because Jim just took the bandage off a 10-year love wound. And folks, not even a gallon of bleach could clean what's pouring out in a move that nobody, not even VH1 producers, anticipated coming. Jim didn't just speak up, he went nuclear. And what he's revealing is the kind of ugly heartbreak that makes love and hip-hop feel like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. We're talking shady recordings, twisted loyalty games, guilt techniques on overdrive. The relationship was so poisonous that even Instagram attempted to flag the details as emotionally disturbing. Thus the question now is, Chrissy was ever truly in love, or was this just a long con and red bottoms and Chanel pearls? Why did Jim describe her? Love as STiNKY is suffocating and intentional. And more importantly, what proof does he have to defend this? This isn't just a horrible breakup. It's an emotional crime scene unfolding in public. So, turn off, grab your snacks, and get ready, because Jim just unloaded every dirty secret, all on Chrissy's beautifully manicured narrative. And after this storm, there's no press release in the world that will restore it. So let's take. When Jim and Chrissy first appeared on our televisions, they had the entire culture deceived. Luxury holiday proposals with budget rings that somehow went viral. They were supposed to be the pair that made love. In hip-hop, appear legitimate. But now Jim is publicly labeling it all a fake, a performance, a deliberate trap, raptor slovers. And admirers can't breathe either, because the illusion is collapsing quickly. Let's rewind a little for years. Chrissy marketed herself as the ultimate ride-or-die lady, who stood by Jim through label battles, street beefs. And that VH1 repeats show an embarrassing proposal rejection. But Jim says she wasn't holding him down. She was locking him up in what insiders are claiming. A leaked emotional breakdown addressed to Inner Circle, Jim reveals that love was never liberated. It was confined and dominating. Calculating his words, it was love on a leash, and I wasn't the one holding it. Let that rest for a minute. The same guy who gave us We Fly High is now claiming he was grounded in the worst way possible. He says their entire romance was founded on mind games, emotional blackmail, and tenderness with strings. And it wasn't just pillow talk. Jim said all of this under oath, during a sealed deposition linked to a different VH1. Jim dropped emotional bombs so heavy that the court stenographer had to call a break in one court. Official characterized his voice as exhausted, but finally free. This wasn't testimony, but a full-fledged purge with Let's Talk receipts. Apparently, Chrissy kept a thorough relationship ledger, a spreadsheet of every cent she ever spent on gym flights, clothes, jail money, haircuts, grills, and even whitening trays for his teeth. Documented with interest. But here's where everything gets twisted. She allegedly weaponized the spreadsheet during arguments. When Jim requested for space, Chrissy allegedly answered 82 on 311/47. I'm not going anywhere. This ain't love. This is a beauty influencer running a hostage negotiation with XL and lipstick, which is the subject of the documentary series. She supposedly shopped around to 3 networks. But guess who she didn't loop in? Jim Jones, according to one executive. Asked, is Jim attached to this project? Chrissy's response, no, but it's my version of circumstances. And that's exactly when the deal fell through. But wait up, this isn't where the issue ends. Lines begin to blur between public scandal and straight-up sabotage, Because what followed wasn't just shade. It was Cameron walked into the courtroom like he'd been summoned by karma herself. No PR smile, no showbiz strut, just frigid precision and a file folder designated confidential C+J. And inside that, Chrissy's carefully maintained empire didn't just start with a tilt. One courtroom staffer described Cam's entrance as a quiet before a legal hurricane. He wasn't there to assist anyone. He came to settle past scores and produce receipts when prosecutors opened that folder. Everyone froze the first page. A high-resolution bank scan, but not under Jim's name. Not even Chrissy's. It read Christina Santiago, shared the same date of birth and address as Chrissy's former beauty line, but the account offshore Cayman Islands, B transactions, suspicious 25K, 50K, occasionally 80K, all classified as consultation services for a TV corporation that does not even exist in any legitimate documents. After the fourth page, a jury begged for a break, no joke. But Cam just got warmed up. He pulled out another bombshell, an invoice trail linked to a women's empowerment non-profit, Chrissy. During her alleged comeback era, Cam's legal team released incriminating details, nearly $190,000 in donor funds, allegedly redirected to private enterprises, tied to Chrissy's personal brand. How was that? Money spent not on empowerment, but on glam squads, promotion shots, image consultants, even a line item designated union episode clothing. Yep, reportedly using charity cash to stun on reality TV. Chrissy looked like she was. Her attorney leaned close and murmured something, but she didn't flinch. She didn't blink. She just stared forward, frozen in the bright spotlight. And then came the footage. Pixelated hotel hallway, Miami Chrissy, in stilettos, pacing like she just got bad news. Phone pressed to her ear, and the audio muted. But to be clear, I told you that if Cam talks, we're done. He has proof and backups, and I urged Jim to shut it down. But Chrissy's lawyer stepped up with a privacy complaint, and the room became silent. Looking back, the tape was obtained properly by subpoena, and the judge entered it into evidence because of what? Her entire picture of the tough ride-or-die lady was disintegrating, and what replaced it was a portrait of manipulation, duplicity, and maybe fraud. And then the final dagger walked in. A former VH1 production assistant, we'll name her C-Tense voice, shivering but ready to burn it all down. Her first words Chrissy used to bribe us with slip cash beneath the table to delete scenes that made her seem bad. I observed her threaten a senior editor once, telling him that if he airs that footage, he'd never work again. The jurors flinched. Chrissy finally hid her face in her palms. But C wasn't finished yet. She produced phony invoices and claimed travel reimbursements for shootings that never happened. One trip was to Turkey, and Cal, she called it script development, but it was her birthday, and I was there. And through it all, Cam sat quietly in the gallery. No emotion, no smirk, simply ice-cold composure, like a man who didn't have to say anything anymore, because the truth was now shouting via courtroom speakers, while outside the courthouse mayhem bloggers, live streaming Instagram, gushing updates every 2 minutes, Twitter on fire, and the harsh meme had Chrissy in tears with the remark, "When you bet the house on manipulation and it goes for closure." Another showed Cameron coming out with shades with courtroom camera reality, TV camera, but the most brutal one split photo. Left side Jim and Chrissy, smiling during the VH1 years. Right side courtroom drawings, with the headlining power couple, or power scam. And just when the drama peaked, a black SUV rolled. Jim strolled up to the courthouse's side entrance, without any bling or security flex. Just a hoodie and shadows under his eyes. With silent purpose, He slipped straight past photographers and slid into the courtroom like a ghost, returning to the scene, sat behind. Cam's arms were folded, his lips stiff, and the judge observed. "Would you like to speak?" Jim responded quietly. "I just want the truth out. I didn't know." Chrissy stood, turned, and mumbled something inaudible. Jim did not answer. He merely walked out again, and that clip went ballistic, with tens of thousands of reposts and hundreds of TikTok tabloids flashing. Within minutes, Jim walks out on Chrissy in complete quiet. Chrissy breaks down after Jim's last. "Look, Cameron didn't drop bombs. He dumped a full firestorm. And just as you thought the pandemonium had peaked, while the court was still going on, another piece of evidence was presented. This time a voice. Recording from Mama. Jones herself time-stamped. Just last year, the message played gently, but hurt hard. You think that woman loves you. She loves. Control wake up before you lose your spirit and your pocketbook poetry. Ruthless and direct to the bone. And guess what? The judge didn't just nod along. He ordered action because, immediately after that memo, prosecutors dropped the hammer. Subpoenas were issued in collaboration with federal authorities to investigate Chrissy's financial background, targeting previous production budgets, non-profit registrations, and company data dating back years. Her former business manager was formally under federal examination. If these claims stand, we're talking about tax evasion wire fraud. Even probable RICO charges. The courtroom absolutely froze. Chrissy slumped into her chair. No words, no tears, just 1,000-year gaze of absolute surprise. And Cameron stood up, buttoned his blazer, and left no microphone. No last look, simply a silent escape as the empire burned behind him. But boss, it wasn't the final chapter, because while the public was captivated to every leak, video, and digital flame, Yandy Smith stepped in total, and she didn't come to spectate. She came to speak loudly where Yandy takes the stand. New foes emerge from old. Shadows and Chrissy's meticulously kept house of cards. Meet the kind of wind that you can't block. Because if you thought Cameron's folder was the grand finale, you were wrong. The courtroom had hardly cooled off when the doors burst open again, and in strode the name that made Chrissy flinch without warning. Yandy Smith. "No backdoor sneak in," she shouted. Straight through the front heels, echoing baby hairs, put folder in one hand, Bluetooth in the other. Her expression, stone cold outdoors. Reporters shouted her name. Photographers scrambled, cameras flashed like warning shots. But Yandy Chrissy was already uncomfortable when she peered into one camera and whispered, "Now it's my turn inside." Cosmetics. Hoodie low, face down, like the world was closing in on Jim, Cameron, and even Mama Jones had left the bench. But Yandy was locked in after being sworn in, and her opening sentence stunned the crowd. "I kept my lips shut for 10 years of respect, but today I speak to survive." And from there, she sparked the match. And Yandy said that throughout the 2013 and 2014 LHH seasons, Chrissy allegedly managed a backstage narrative control ring. Does it entail bribery, threats, pressure on editors, pressure on producers, all supposedly meant to change the narrative, making Yandy the villain, while sheltering Chrissy's real-life catastrophe felt like a gut punch. During a reunion taping, I had a panic attack backstage, and Chrissy informed production. What she left out is that she was the one who notified my ex where I'd be so he could corner me. Camera caught it, they cut the film, and gasps rang around the room. Chrissy blinked once and glanced at the Yandy, was not even halfway done when she took out emails printed with timestamps. A genuine one from Chrissy to a showrunner read, "If I look bad, the whole show looks bad. Clean it up." Another Yandy, used to reaction, she'll survive. I won't boss. This wasn't drama. This was Black Art's public relations battle. And then the burner phone Yandy's legal team brought up an old phone allegedly used by Chrissy during her time on the show. She communicated with off-the-record insiders and coordinated false text. Drama paid feuds, hush money for backup cast chats about which footage to conceal. One message said, pay her $1,500, tell her it's a clothing refund, and have her sign something so she can't speak. The courtroom reeled, and then bang, the twist nobody expected coming. Turns out Yandy and Cameron were, for months. They worked together not only to trade notes, but also to create a timetable and digital forensic trail of every dubious Chrissy's claim transfer from 2011 to present. Twitter exploded again, with hashtags flying like confetti, and Yandy unrestrained. Chrissygate, the true love and hip-hop strategic quiet. No more blogs uploaded side-by-side memes. Chrissy in court hoodie, up head low, Yandy on the stand, pearls gleaming posture. Like a CEO TikTok broke one user said. She didn't clap back. She held the whole thunderstorm for 10 years. While another, Yandy pulled out screenshots like Marvel reveals post-Reddit scenes. And just when it appeared like Chrissy couldn't, STiNKY lower the prosecution dropped the final audio file forensically, validated a clip from 2019 Chrissy on the phone with a VH1 producer. If we leak something regarding Jim's depression, it will divert people. His mental condition makes me look like a saint. And the judge took a deep breath. The barwhif looked like he was about to tap out, but Jim delivered the fatal blow. Just when the world believed Jim reappeared in court with his legal team by his side. No shackles, no discussion, only tired eyes and legal documents. When the judge asked if he wanted to speak, Jim stood up, looked at Chrissy, and stated, I just wanted to clarify that I didn't know. 4 words. Chrissy crumbled. She stood-mouthed something toward him. Maybe, please. Jim shook his head and walked out again. And that clip spread everywhere. TikTok pieced it, Reels exploded. Twitter declared it the quietest mic drop in TV scandal history. He wants to make sure nothing related to him gets pulled into lawsuits or criminal probes. He's done shielding her, and the gym sent in a stack of paperwork, including bank records, asset documents, property deeds, and personal letters, outlining years of claimed deception and financial abuse. One passage from that letter contained the I didn't want to see it, but in retrospect, it wasn't love, it was survival for her. Chrissy didn't answer. She didn't say anything, didn't blink, but stared at the floor frozen in stillness. And the court didn't waste time. The judge slammed down the gavel and said that this court finds reasonable cause to commence a criminal investigation into charges of fraud, coercion, and financial malfeasance. Ms. Lampkin is hereby barred from travel and must surrender ownership of any active business accounts effective immediately. Just like her, businesses clamped down her image, destroying Chrissy and Jim's love story. And just when it appeared like the narrative had concluded, Mama Jones posted a trailer, a real teaser for her own documentary series. Opening line, they tried to erase me, but I kept everything. Cue the somber music, the grainy black and white clips of Chrissy at invite, only parties to the narration. Some women construct their legacy, while others hijack someone else's. I don't know what the messiest, most content-rich debacle in hip-hop reality TV history is. Why is this not just the collapse of a pair leads to demolition? A dynasty, one sloppy receipt at a time. What is next for Chrissy's legal team? The IRS ASIM is running around, and Mona Scott is apparently presenting a love and hip-hop spin-off that is already trendy. In group chats, love and lock up Lampkin files. And who's rumoured to narrate it? Yandy Smith. And that's it. From scripted stories, to concealed wires, using burner phones, to blackmail the Chrissy, and Jim's story didn't just end there, exploded. The fallout now belongs to subpoenas issued by the federal government to bloggers and a public. There's no mercy left, yet here's the fundamental question is, was this ever love? Chrissy is just making her own fantasy. One crimson carpet and a phony proposal at when do you think Jim was manipulated and misled? Or is this just a bitter split disguised up as a Netflix thriller? What about Yandy, the truth teller, receipts, or chess players with immaculate drop your uncensored takes at the comments? Let it fly. Who's real? Who's fake? Who comes next? Because if you're already a member of the jury. Hit it as if your jaw's still on the floor. Slam that subscribe button. You want front row seats for the upcoming explode, and switch on those notifications because of the next leak. Hits that you will not want to hear. Secondhand, this is not only a controversy. Is battle, receipts, and reality TV turned? Courtroom confession stay. Ready, stay ruthless, and we'll see you. The next exposure. What comes next?